Hello again, Gills fans. Welcome back to another episode of Gills in the Blood TV. It has been a week since we saw you, myself, Ava and the gang were at the Priestfield last Saturday for that impressive 3-0 win against Peak Wild's Barrow that at the time kept the playoff dream alive. Unfortunately, that has since been extinguished with yesterday's defeat at Mansfield by 2-1 and other results finally going against us to put the nail into the coffin of the promotion bid. So, now thoughts turn to next season. It of course means that with just one game to go in the current campaign, we can start looking forward to 24-25, and it's a time of the year that I really enjoy. I think lots of football fans enjoy playing Football Scout, enjoy playing Football Manager, and they can go and have a look at lists of players available, free agents, transfer listed, to see who might be able to come in and improve the Gills moving forward. In this video, I'm going to look at two particular areas. Of course, they're at the top end of the pitch. I'm going to be concentrating on wingers and centre forwards. There's of course been a lot of talk about our lack of goals over the past season or two, or maybe even three. So yes, we definitely need to get more goal scorers into the squad for the new campaign. But of course, an onus does fall on those that are creating chances for said strikers as well. And I think aside from Connor Mahoney, we've never had any real natural width this season. I think Johnny Williams was shoehorned into a wide role to accommodate a system. I think he's better suited centrally. So in this first section, I'm going to look at 4 wide men that I think potentially could be attainable. First up is 28-year-old Grimsby Town winger Abo Issa. I remember him, I think, playing in the away fixture back in September that we lost by 2-0. I remember him being very impressive in that game off the left-hand side. Born in Sudan, like I say, 28 years old. Contract, according to the websites that I've looked at, expires this summer. So he would be available, Issa, on a free transfer based on his age. Looking at his stats for this season, and bear in mind this research was done before the Saturday fixtures, so it might not be completely true, but it's only going to be one game out. In 23-24, he's played 32 games, contributed 4 goals and 4 assists. Predominantly plays off the left, but can play from the right as well. Previous clubs include Bradford City and Scunthorpe United. And since the start of the 2018-19 season, in 131 games, he's contributed 39 goal contributions. That's 27 strikes and 12 assists. So you're looking at around 1 in 3 or so, which wouldn't be too bad at League 2 level at all. I think that's 15 goal contributions over a full season at that rate. Had a quick look on YouTube and a couple of apps that we can find. Obviously, I'm not a professional football analyst or anything like that. But yeah, strengths for me, including the fact that he's quick and he's direct. He can go either way. Happy to go on the outside or the inside. But one thing that did stand out was his ability to cut in off the left and shoot at goal with his right foot. So I'd say that he's probably an inverted winger. But yeah, that's my first option. Abo Issa. Next up is a player who's a lot younger and would command a fee based on his age and his contract situation. And that is 21-year-old Colchester winger, Jaden Fevrier. Very much a rough diamond that would need polishing. Parts of his game definitely need improvement. But like I say, at the age of just 21, there's plenty of potential to work with. He plays predominantly from the right, but again, can play from either side. So it would give us some versatility. Obviously, you're going to have to contend with injuries and suspensions throughout the season. So you want people that can fill a couple of positions. Contract doesn't expire until the summer of 2025. So like I say, would command a fee. Birthplace is London, so locally based. Geographically, it makes sense at Colchester. They're not a million miles away from Kent. 23-24 stats are 41 appearances. So he plays plenty of games and plenty of minutes. Doesn't pick up injuries, doesn't get suspended. 3 goals and 4 assists, which is not loads. But in a side in Colchester that have struggled near the bottom of the table all season, I don't think it's a bad return, coupled with the fact that he's very young and he's very raw. In terms of previous clubs, you're looking at West Ham United under-18s and Derby's under-21s before making the move to the JobServe Community Stadium and getting his first taste of senior football. Has 25 goal contributions. That's broken down to 11 strikes and 14 assists in 106 youth and senior appearances. So again, 1 in 4 at that age I don't think is too bad at all. And I think he's the type of player that we could get in and potentially develop. And if he stays with us, excellent. And if he then has to be moved on and sold, that's the nature of the beast at this level, isn't there? So I think there's plenty of potential in terms of his natural attributes and what we could do with the player as well. Looking at clips of him, out and out pace, Again, something that we've massively lacked for a while now. And dribbling looks very good with the ball at his feet. Doesn't seem to travel at a slower pace with the ball compared to out of possession. And I think it was about a 50% success dribble rate over the last few seasons or over his career. So yeah, there's plenty of potential there. Wouldn't be someone that would come in and be the finished article, but that's my second option, Jaden Fevrier. The third wide man on the list is a bit of a left field one, and I'm basing it on the fact that Stephen Clements used to play for this club before retiring. So it would be a loan, and I'm talking about Yago Santiago. He's 21-year-old Spaniard, plays obviously for Tottenham's under-21 squad. Contract expires in June 2025, so it would be a loan. I can't see it being something that would be a permanent at all. Plays from the left, predominantly. Looking at highlights and websites and apps and that type of thing, but can play off the other side and can play as a 10 as well. So it's that versatility that I've already mentioned. Has played 15 games in Premier League 2 for Tottenham in this current season, has contributed 8 goals and 7 assists. So it's a contribution every game, which is really, really impressive. No previous clubs to talk about. He's been at Tottenham for a young age. And yeah, since the start of 2021, he's played 66 times in Premier League 2 and he's got 16 goals and 11 assists. But if you break that down even further, it's 15 goals and 9 assists in his last 41 appearances at that level, which is very, very impressive. There's some decent highlights of him on YouTube, and I'll try and put the links to all the players that I've managed to scout in the description at the bottom of this video. Really good movement. That was the first thing I picked up on, coming in off the left, drifting into pockets of space centrally and in behind defences, getting in behind, something that we've lacked again. Really good close control with both feet and an ability to finish as well. So yeah, slightly left field, Yago Santiago, but one that I think could be exciting if Stephen Clements can use his contacts at one of his former clubs. The final option in my quartet of potential wide men was born in Southend. He plays for Southend. His side have just missed out on the National League playoffs. 28-year-old Jack Bridge is who I'm talking about. He's had another very good season at the level. His contract doesn't expire until next year, so we would have to buy him. Plays from the left-hand side naturally, but can fill in at left-back and also centre midfield, I believe. 23-24 stats are 45 appearances, 7 goals and 10 assists. Previous clubs include Bromley and Northampton Town, amongst others, and he has 20 goals and 8 assists in his last 2 seasons in the National League from 87 appearances. Having a look, wasn't loads of videos about Jack available, unfortunately, but looking at some numbers, he's second in terms of best players in the National League on SofaScore. Very good penalty taker. Like I say, versatility would be key, direct, and would give us a good option from that left-hand side. So yeah, that's another one. Whether he wants to leave his hometown club is a different matter entirely. But having missed out on the playoffs at 28 years of age, would he like to take his chance in the EFL again? I'm talking about Jack Bridge. Just a couple of names that I've seen mentioned on social media as alternatives. Alex Newby at Altrincham, who's been doing very well there in the National League. Obviously, they're in the playoffs, so that would one that would have to take a while, see how they finish up their season. And I know they say never go back, but a couple of people I've seen mention former player Elliot List, struggling for game time at Stevenage since that injury about 18 months ago, but he's back and fully fit. Will he want to drop back into League 2 to get regular football? Who knows? But there's a couple of alternatives. And we now move on to centre forwards. So now that we've signed all these attacking wingers that are going to provide chance after chance, we of course now need to find some players to get on the end of said crosses, etc., and put the ball in the back of the onion bag. Yeah, looking at the current squad, I think obviously Josh Andrews is going to be around next season, and I think Ollie Hawkins will be as well. I think we can use him as a centre forward and essentially as another centre back. We wouldn't have to then go into the market for a fourth centre back. That's my thinking. I'm not sure Ashley Nadesan or Josh Walker, unfortunately, will be with us for 24-25. It's unfortunately not worked out for Josh. And Ashley's not been in the squad, has he, for weeks now. So I think it's probably fair to say that Stephen Clements is maybe looking to move him on. But yeah, we've got to look at strikers regardless of what happens with the current ones, because we need to improve our output. So let's get into it now. First up is a centre forward that plays for Hartlepool United in the National League, and I'm not actually talking about Josh Umira, a player that was linked to us, I think, for a couple of windows after the Gallantons come in, but has somewhat gone off the radar in recent times. I'm actually talking about one of his teammates, 29-year-old centre forward, born in Leeds. Contract expires in June 2025, so we would have to pay for him. I'm talking about Manny Dieseruvwe. I think I've pronounced that right, and apologies if I have got it wrong. Dieseruvwe is a penalty box striker, does exactly what he says on the tin. Previous clubs include Halifax Town and Grimsby Town. He has played 38 games in the National League this season, has contributed 21 goals and 8 assists, which is a phenomenal rate for a side that are in mid-table. Over the last 114 games that he's played at the level, he's contributed 42 goals. So it's better than 1 in 3. So you're looking at 15, 16 a season at least. And yeah, like I say, does exactly what he says on the tin. He's a focal point, he's strong, he's mobile, he gets about the pitch, similar to Josh Andrews. He's a proper penalty box striker, sniffing out chances, good with his left foot and his right foot. I think there was a couple of penalties I saw that he tucked away in the highlights that I watched. And of course, he's very, very good in the air. So that is my first option, Manny Dieseruvwe. Next up is another player that is currently plying his trade at the other end of the country. So geographically, you think it might not make sense, but he was born in Gravesend, which is just up the road from us. He's 26 years old and he plays for Gateshead, and his name is Marcus Dinganga. Contract expires, I think, either this year or next, but there is an option to extend. So there is a bit of a discrepancy over whether he'd be available on a free transfer or we'd have to pay for him. But I think given the fact that he's had a good season in the National League, it would be getting him closer to home. I think it's someone that we can't ignore and should be looking at. In 23-24, he's played 41 times, 19 goals scored and 6 assists. He's another one who's an out-and-out striker. Has previously played for Altrincham and Chesterfield. And since joining Gateshead a couple of seasons ago, he's got 26 goals in 60 games. So around 1 in 2, which is very, very good. So you're looking at 20 a season if he gets the right service. Strengths for me, looking at highlights, include his movement, very nippy, never standing still, always moving defenders around. He plays on the shoulder, which again is something that we've missed out on recently. Everything seems to be into a player, and then someone like Hawkins has to play with his back to goal. So this would be the different type of striker. He's a poacher. He knows where the net is. He's instinctive. So yeah, that's my second option. 26-year-old Gateshead striker, locally born, Marcus Dinganga. Third on the list is another National League front man. And I get at this point, you might be asking, why are we just looking at those players in the division below? My point is, we've got 2 established Football League strikers, haven't we? We went down the route of trying to buy from higher divisions last summer. Did it really work? Probably not. So that is why I think we should be dipping into the market and looking at the level below, because it's a very good division. There's some very good players in it. This front man is 22 years old. He was born in Switzerland. His contract doesn't expire for another 18 months, so we would have to pay. Plays for Aldershot Town, and I'm talking about Lorent Tolaj. He has scored 18 goals and contributed 9 assists from 43 appearances in the National League this season for a side that have just missed out on the end of campaign playoffs. So, will he want to jump up into League 2? Potentially. Will they want to sell him? Probably not. Previous clubs include Dundee United and Salford City. And he's got 20 goals in all competitions this season, which is a very, very good return. We've all spoken about 20-goal strikers, haven't we, on social media for the last 6 months or more. Strengths, shots from range. That was the first thing that stood out watching highlights. Again, good with both feet. Versatile. Likes to drop into pockets of space and drift wide, even though he is a centre forward, to get the ball. And looking at games that Aldershot have played and systems that they've implemented this season, he can play as a lone front man. He's played in a pair. He's played slightly deeper as a second striker, almost like a 10. So that versatility could be key to cover injuries and suspensions again. So yeah, that's my third choice for a potential new arrival. Aldershot Town's Lorent Tolaj. The last, but by no means least, of the quartet of potential new signings is a player that we saw only too briefly back in the winter. He arrived on transfer deadline day along with Josh Andrews, but unfortunately we only saw him 3 times from the bench. One cameo was very, very impressive against Swindon Town. I'm, of course, talking about Jorge Cabezas Hurtado. He was our Colombian who arrived on loan back in the winter window, contracted until 2029 at his parent club, Watford. So they do think very highly of him. So absolutely no chance of signing him on a permanent. But he'd be a player that I'd love to try and get back in on loan next season. Like I say, it was just 3 appearances for us in League Two. 1 assist, winning that penalty for Conor Mahoney to tuck away against Swindon at the Priestfield back in February. Made a huge impact, didn't he, in his short time with the club. I think Ramo Hutton spoke recently about how he's been in touch with him. He's been to a couple of games while recovering from his injury, and he's back in training at Vicarage Road. Just wonder if we'd got into the playoffs, whether he'd have been allowed to come back. Who knows? But he's definitely someone that I would want us to go and try and get back for next season. I've put down strengths: fearless, direct, unknown, good dribbler, brave. You only have to look at that penalty that he won. He got whacked on the halfway and only got whacked in the box. He kept just bouncing up. And yeah, he was someone that could have potentially changed our season. So for me, the last potential signing would be Jorge Hurtado. Couple of names just to throw in as alternatives. One is another that I've seen come up on social media frequently over the last few weeks, having another impressive season in the National League, and that is Southend United's Harry Cardell. And one that I noticed when I was looking at left wingers is another player that plays for one of Stephen's former clubs, and that is Tottenham under-21's Will Lancashire. Go and check out his numbers on the internet. Very, very good return goals and assists this season, having a very impressive campaign for the Spurs youngsters. Like I said, can Stephen use his contacts at previous clubs that he's worked at as a coach or where he's played? So yeah, there's a couple of alternatives to the 4 that I've gone into in more detail. As I always say, thanks if you're still watching at this point. It is really appreciated, all your support, all your sharing, your retweeting, and all that type of stuff. Please consider hitting the like button. Please go and smash that subscribe button. Turn the bell on for all notifications for new content. I'm trying to get a lot of stuff out this week and just after the Doncaster game, so I can have a little bit of a rest throughout the summer and see my family. But no, all jokes aside, the support is always massively appreciated. I think we're only 5 away now from 3,100. We've jumped from 3k right up to nearly 3.1 really quickly. So if you can get us there as soon as possible, that'd be great. Don't forget, we've got the giveaway in the summer where you'll be able to win a football shirt from the club of your choice. But until then, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm sure you've all got your own lists. I'm sure you've all got your own potential signings and wish lists. But thanks for watching. We will see you soon, and up the Gills.